Welcome to a super cozy vibes video. We're just gonna nitpick my Pinterest board. We're gonna scroll and just see what I've been looking at recently. And I'll give you my thoughts on what I like about things, what I don't like about things, because spoiler, I don't actually love everything that's on my interior design Pinterest board. Also, I have an interior design Pinterest board. I'll link it below. About like 95% of the inspiration I get is from Pinterest. So shout out to my Aunt Julie, who probably isn't watching this, who got me hooked on Pinterest as a high schooler. So now is a perfect time to make some tea, grab a snack, whatever. I am currently drinking some lemon ginger in my favorite thrifted mug that does not have a handle at all. I'm obsessed, and it's still way too hot, so I'm gonna put this down. Ow. And I also, this is not sponsored or anything, but I just found out by looking at the back of the packaging, but this tea that I got, this brand is B Corp certified. So we love to see that. And I guess let's start Pinteresting. Okay, Pinterest. Okay, we should not be on my homepage, but I'm gonna save that. Let's go to interior design. Oh, I have literally already saved this. So clearly I'm obsessed with this cabinet. I have really been loving anything recently. This isn't perfectly brutalist vibes, but it's brutalist adjacent, which is kind of an older mid-century style. It's more 70s, 80s. Whoops. I think I'm just gonna scroll slowly until I find something that I want to talk about, because, stop it, where did you go? No. Got it. Stop it. Nah. I feel like a grandpa. There we go. I need to scroll gently, is what we've learned. This is super fascinating. I never would have thought to design a room like this. Like, all of these elements feel like things that I wouldn't pick on their own, which I think is the key to good design, is finding elements that you're like, I don't know if I love that on its own, but with this other thing, it's perfect. Yeah, like that black ornate frame, I'm not loving, but it works. I don't know. This picture I saw in an article talking about the like red theory. Yeah, it doesn't necessarily apply in every space, but I think it works in this space really well. I think without this red bench, it would not be the same, and it would not have the punch that it has. And I think the key to doing this successfully is to have your pop of red be big enough, but not too big. And it also needs to be the right red within the context of the space. There's a lot of different types of reds. This one is a much more orangey red. There's much more like purpley burgundy reds. It kind of all depends on where you go. You can do a lighter red that's closer to pink. You can do a darker red. You can do more of a brick red. It really all depends. But anyways, yeah, balance between how big and small it is. Because this bench, it's not like a tiny little trinket on a shelf. That's not going to do anything. It's also not a whole entire accent wall. That's also not going to be good, because red accent walls, we've seen those before. Not good. This is pretty, but it feels like it's a space that people don't actually like do much living in, you know? These white chairs back here are really impractical, especially if you have like kids or pets or anything. They don't look particularly comfortable. I might be wrong about that, but these glass tables, not very practical at all. They'll get dusty and fingerprinty all the time. I do, however, love this lamp. Super classic, super timeless. It could go with like just about any style that's out there. I love the shape of it. I love the proportion of the lampshade to the lamp base. All in all, not bad. I do love that at least there's a couch that is a color rather than just white. And you can't see it very well over here, but there's a pedestal with what looks like some sort of sculpture on it. And if you've got the space for that, it really just elevates your space. This is one of those spaces like the one with the big red art in the black frame over the bed. Individually, I don't want to say I hate all of these things, but I don't love them, and I would not pick them in a lot of scenarios. The stools are fine. I think they're interesting. And actually, my favorite thing is the chair that's over here, this little leather and wood chair. The armoire is fine. This lamp, I hate. Do not like that lamp. And then this coffee table is strange. It's fine, but like it's, again, not something that I would pick based on what the coffee table looks like. But it kind of all just like works in this space, or at least in this photo. Um, that's one thing I will probably make a video on at some point, is the fact that living in your space and looking at really well done photographs of a space are two very completely different things. Your space can work perfectly for you, and maybe it doesn't photograph well, or maybe it photographs really well, but it doesn't work as well as it could. So just something to keep in mind when you see all of these like perfect Pinterest pictures. And yeah, this is another one that feels like someone clearly styled it for this photo shoot. I would be very surprised if this blanket is this perfectly laid on the back of this chair all of the time. And, you know, the little trinkets on the table right here are that perfect, and that no one ever scoots into the side to set their phone there. Like, pretty, but not the most realistic. This one, I've been really into burl wood recently. I found a burl wood coffee table that I really love. I don't know if I'm willing to spend $300 on it right now, but it is pretty. Yeah, any sort of burl wood, or even if it's not burl wood, but it's I'm trying to think of what it's called. I think it's called matched, when you take a piece of wood, split it down the middle, and then flip it out, just like my bed frame actually, which I found for free on Craigslist, which I'm very excited about. So yeah, and then I like how the top of this is styled very simply. There's not too much going on. There's just two little moments. You've got the books with a little catch-all, and then what looks like some bar supplies. This, not much to talk about here. I like that the bedspread is plaid and it's interesting colors. I love how wide the nightstand is, but I don't love that it's just a side table. It looks like a side table that's meant to go next to a couch rather than a bed. There's no storage. The only storage is on top, which works in this case because of how big the surface area on top is. I really do not like that lamp. That looks like a lamp that goes with someone's like peacock themed wedding. That color in particular gives me weird vibes. Ooh, I love the flooring. Won't be able to see it very much, but I love the big cactuses that are just poking out of here. It's really amusing and also kind of phallic. I also really love this art though. It looks like a giant paint palette that artists use, but it's just massive. A cute little tree in a pot is always classic. Oh, I pinned this one because this color combination is just so classic. And especially the way that it's used a little bit more traditionally here rather than in a more contemporary setting. The flowers, the variations in blues, and specifically this like Cornwall flower, periwinkle kind of, that type of blue. I don't know exactly what to call. Such a small apartment, very simple, clearly pretty cramped, but the amount of art that's in here and the fact that you can tell that this art has been carefully picked over many years. Obsessed with that. The little lamp on a side table in the corner is great. The weird ladder thing is so much fun. Honestly, this leather couch looks like it might have been free from Craigslist. Not due to the condition it's in, but just due to the style. But a lot of times you can find, especially in, you know, bigger metropolitan areas, you can find free couches that are in perfectly good condition, and you can either find a leather couch like this and use some sort of like waxy, oily thing to finish it, or as long as you like the silhouette of it, you can just get it reupholstered. This was just a cute little moment. You don't usually see lamps on chairs. I've seen a lot of little like chair moments like this, which I love, but you don't usually see things stacked on top of the chairs, and specifically lamps. And this feels so cozy. And I'm wondering if this is one of Paige Wassell's bags, because it looks like it. Actually, yeah, that looks like the same bag. Wait, go back up. Yep, from the Was store. Yes, this is Paige Wassell's bag. So yeah, obsessed with that. This I love specifically because, especially in like a craft room or any room that has a lot of function and utility, and you need to have things. Something like this, if you are a really visual person, especially if you've got ADHD or something, this could be a really great way, getting an old wooden hutch thingy, because everything is contained within its own little space, right? Everything has its own home, it has somewhere to live, and it's not spilling out. And so if you're going to do clutter, this is a decent way to do clutter. It still is personally a little too much visually for me, but if you're going to do clutter, at least do contained clutter. This I pinned specifically because it reminds me of, I don't know, it feels like a home altar or something. Like if you're spiritual or religious at all, this is obviously a very modern version, but just a little shelf with a candle and a picture. It's a really simple way to add an altar into your home without being like, there's the altar that we never touch. Like, this is a really, I don't know, simple, practical thing. It doesn't take up much space. It doesn't scream religious if you're not trying to be out to your family about that. So, good idea. Oh, I saw this picture frame, and I'm obsessed with this picture frame. I don't know if there's anywhere online that makes these right now. But just the simple curves, so simple, so subtle. But it makes such a difference. Let's see. Oh, I forgot about my tea. If you have also forgotten about your tea, now's the time to drink it. Okay. Continuing on. I've seen a bunch of this recently with curtains all behind the bed. Depends on how you go about it. That could be really expensive. Definitely statement-y, high impact, good at sound dampening and insulation if those are issues. We always love a practical design decision, so if you've got the budget for that. I have been really into tapestries recently. Stop it. So yeah, I wish it was a little bit bigger and filled up this wall a little bit more, but other than that, I love it. The side tables seem a little squished in there, but they do fit, and they seem to make sense. I love the fringe around. I don't have both hands to do this. The fringe, the trim at the bottom of the couch is really nice. Is my phone gonna keep doing this? Can you not? Okay, since my Pinterest app keeps freezing for some reason, which it never does. Of course, it's doing it while I'm shooting a video. Let's look at my home inspiration. So this board is specifically for ideas for my own home, whether it's this home or a future home or just ideas, products, stuff like that. Again, I pinned this was bag because everything Paige Wassel does is good. Maybe like 98% of what she does is good. An interesting throw that has the checks, stripes, and plaid thing going on that I love. Arvin Alano's rug collection. He's got this nice rug. I love the variation in texture, and I love just like a nice, simple, solid color wool rug. For this size and this price, that's a pretty affordable wool rug. And I did look, it is 80% wool. It's not like 20% or something. So that is a good find. Bed Bath & Beyond has actually had some interesting... Actually, here, let me show you. Some interesting rugs recently. Where did they go? We've got this fun checkered pyramid-y design on there. Again, just like fun, interesting, unique rugs. And I would never expect Bed Bath & Beyond to have some of the most interesting rugs available from like mass manufactured spots. Oh, and apparently these are machine washable too. So if you've been interested in Ruggable and you saw my recent Ruggable video and you want a washable rug that is interesting, some of these could be good choices. This feels really similar to one of the ones that I saw on Ruggable's website. Yeah, I really like it. This one is definitely a bit more colorful, got a bigger check going on. But yeah, super interesting, and I don't see things like this on Wayfair. Not to knock Wayfair like too much, but... Oh, and then there's this rug that I was just looking at on Pinterest. So, back to Pinterest. Some overpriced and possibly questionably sourced stone lamps. We don't know. I don't know anything about that company. I'm pretty sure these were also was. Yeah, this is Paige Wassel's. I love any sort of interesting wood side table. Any sort of like old vintage wood credenza. You can't go wrong with that. These lamps are super neat. I don't know why. They're so simple too. And I could probably DIY these. So let me know if you want that in a future video. Oh, I love the vibes of this. The couch, the furniture in general is not even great. It's all leather. There's no fabric upholstery. So that feels like a strange choice. But this wall of windows with the trees out there, this feels very Pacific Northwest, which I have been drawn to recently. I know I literally just moved, but I am manifesting that for myself, living in the Pacific Northwest at some point soon. So, yeah, and then the cozy lamp and all the plants, and yeah, just can't go wrong with any of that. I have been pinning some pictures of the inside of fridges. I know everyone loves like a good fridge organization, but so much of it is just so wasteful. You're just buying random plastic containers that you don't actually need. But like if you're reusing jars and, you know, you're using these glass containers from IKEA that have the bamboo lids and whatnot, and then just, I feel like it's kind of weird to say that a fridge is a vibe, but this fridge is a vibe. Like the hand-painted pottery, all of the like open things of kale and parsley and, you know, whatnot. Like it just, this is what I want my fridge to look like. And it's not about the looks, it's about my relationship with food. But yeah, that's the vibe I'm going for. Oh yeah, this one I love. This is one of my favorites. Yeah, again, hand-painted pottery in a fridge. Why not? Again, weird thing to love, but like a toilet seat, I'm kind of obsessed. Like, I love this pattern that's happening on there. And I love the darkness. I love the color of the wood. It's just a beautiful toilet seat. I love a Zalige tile that is some sort of either a weird different pattern, it's different colors, or it's different shapes like this. Anything that's like a little bit different from the usual white squares, which I'm sure I'll be putting in somewhere at some point because I have some white squared Zalige tiles that I was going to put in my tiny house, and now I'm not making a tiny house. So, hidden doors are always fun. I feel like this would be fun if you have some sort of like speakeasy vibe party room for when you have guests over. It's really not the kind of thing that's practical on a daily basis, but it is a vibe when you're entertaining. This is my favorite fabric designer at the moment. And actually I don't think he does fabrics specifically, but rugs. This design in particular, I'm just obsessed with. And I would really love to get this couch reupholstered in this design, but in a different colorway. But I don't think that's going to happen because our budget is looking a little tighter than we thought because we need a new car. So that's fun. Ooh, again, a burlwood coffee table, or not coffee table, side table. Very pretty. Not sure if it's worth $400, but I'm sure it's handmade and, you know, whatever. I've been loving these, this says Spanish chair, but I've seen some that are more intricate and more cushy that are specifically Brazilian from the 60s. So if you're looking for anything that's this vibe, search on Chairish Brazilian 60s chair and you'll find things that look like that. Not sure that I love the use of this much metal in a bed frame, but I'm also kind of obsessed. So this is very specific. I don't necessarily love this specific color of blue for a toilet. I've kind of been really into well, not colorful, but a colored toilet sink matching situation. But one thing that I specifically love that I haven't heard anyone talk about before, if this will... Okay, I can't zoom in on this. But if you see down at the base of this, it's square and there's steps. I don't know what it is about that, but I love it. My old apartment had this same exact style of base, and I'm actually coming out with an apartment tour of that relatively soon here. I filmed it a couple of years ago, finally getting around to editing it. So, there's that. I am kind of obsessed with like a statement dining room table. Any sort of... What I really love is when the main function of a space is the statement, right? So when the couch in a living room is the statement, right? Put like a really good upholstery fabric on there. Or when the dining table is very unique. Or when the bedspread or the bed frame of the bedroom is the focal point. For me, it doesn't make a lot of sense to have like a rug or a side chair or an accent table or something. It doesn't make sense for that to be a focal point to me. It can be a more accessible price point, but it doesn't make sense, like logically. Sculptures. I've been loving sculptures recently. Let's see if we can find something that I don't like. These handles, I feel like these would only work in a very Gen Z, super colorful kind of space. Or specifically in a kid's room or something like that. I'm not obsessed with them. They are fun and unique and different, but they would have to be used very sparingly or very intentionally to make that work. Ooh, oh, these fire pits. This is the fire pit I want someday. I'm obsessed with this fire pit. It's so pretty. It's so pretty. And it's more modern than I would usually go for, but I love it. This, okay. Gwyneth Paltrow's exquisite Montecito home. I don't know if I would use the word exquisite for it. I think a built-in is never a bad idea. I feel like this is definitely leaning very organic modern, which is already out. I like that they at least went with a subtle stripe for the upholstery fabric, although I wish they matched it up around the edge because if you look at this, they didn't even match it up. They didn't even match it up. And I feel like if you're paying that much for a custom couch, they could at least match it up. The sconces are fine. They look like a lacquered brass, which I'm not really into at the moment. I'd much rather those be chrome or stainless steel, or even black to tie in with the black of this armchair leg. Yeah, I don't know. I don't like a built-in couch for a living room because it makes it really hard to put a rug in there. And I feel like rugs are very important in living rooms. And then that coffee table just looks like something she got off of Wayfair. Which, again, not trying to sabotage any future collaboration possibilities with Wayfair, because they do have some really genuinely good stuff on their website, and I do love their system for filtering and organizing things. Makes it really easy to find what you're looking for. But really boring and basic. That coffee table, not good. I love, and this is just like one of those little things. I love tiny, I don't know if I can, I can't zoom in. I love tiny little details like this that just make you smile. Whether it's little mushrooms. Somewhere on this board I've got a picture of sunflowers that were painted onto stairs. Like, why not? Just like something pretty and fun that'll make you smile. This, I don't think would be very practical for a long-term living situation, but this is like an artist rental out in Joshua Tree. So, of course it works for this. Oh, I'm not recording anymore. Okay, so my phone stopped recording things and I finished my tea. So I think that's the universe telling me that I need to be done for right now. So I hope you enjoyed this more cozy, casual kind of video. Let me know if you like this as opposed to some of my other more structured content. And yeah, hope you have a good day. Bye. That sounded very corporate. I hope today's given you everything you need, and I hope you are able to be present in your body and your heart. Bye.